Now a retelling of the movie The Mist. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's get 1,000 subscribers. The more subscribers we get, the more videos we'll have on the channel. Have a good time. In the aftermath of the storm, artist David Drayton and his wife Stephanie survey the damage to their home. As they approach the shore of the lake on which their property sits, they notice a thick, unnatural white fog slowly descending from the mountains and billowing across the surface of the lake. David, his neighbor Brent Norton, and David's 8-year-old son Billy take a car trip to the supermarket to buy everything they need for hurricane relief. While in the store, which, like the rest of the town, has been left without power and phone service, they notice unusual police and military activity from the military base in the mountains, which, according to local rumors, is engaged in Project Arrow. Suddenly, everyone's attention is drawn to Dan Miller with a bloody nose, running across the parking lot and warning of something dangerous lurking in the coming fog. One of the supermarket customers runs out of the building and runs to his car, at which point the fog covers him and the man's terrified screams are heard. People decide to wait out the danger in the store and lock the doors, and soon something like an earthquake starts outside. Visibility becomes almost zero, and it turns out that none of the people frightened by the unknown are willing to walk the woman home, who is worried about her 2 children left at home unattended. In the end, she leaves. Prominent among the confused people is the fanatically religious Mrs. Carmody, who proclaims Armageddon has come. Going to the warehouse to look for a blanket for his son, David hears banging and noise from outside on the lift gate. He tells store employee Ollie Weeks and mechanics Jim and Myron about it, but they don't believe him. Norm, a teenage delivery boy, decides to open the lift gate to get someone to clean the clogged generator exhaust pipe. As they lift the door, huge, unnatural tentacles with claws along the inside emerge from the fog outside and grab and drag Norm away. David, Ollie Weeks, and the mechanics try to convince a group of skeptics, led by Brent Norton, not to go outside, but they are uncooperative. Cornell, one of the store's customers, reports that he has a shotgun in his car, and one man agrees to go with Norton, retrieve the shotgun, and return to the store. David suggests he tie a rope around him so they know how far they've traveled if something happens. The skeptics, led by Brent Norton, head outside. After a while, the rope seems to be grabbed by something, and David struggles to hold on to it. He coils it up and eventually pulls out of the fog a bloody rope tied to half the torso of the man who went to get a gun. To protect their shelter from the attacks of unknown monsters, the men begin filling the glass windows of the supermarket with bags of fertilizer and dog food. They make torches out of mops wrapped in rags. Carmody says it won't work and God needs a blood sacrifice. As night falls, new monsters emerge from the fog, huge flying insects that look like flying scorpions, attracted by the light, and winged animals that resemble pterodactyls that hunt them. One of the creatures inadvertently breaks a shop window, and 3 people are killed in the ensuing attack. One of them is a girl, a friend of a soldier from a mountain military base, who is bitten by a giant fly and dies in the arms of her friend in terrible agony. Another is bitten on the neck by a pterodactyl and dies due to loss of blood. Another finds himself badly burned. Mrs. Carmody is attacked by the same fly, but when she utters the words of prayer, the fly does not bite her. This serves as an additional confirmation to the fanatic that she is God's chosen prophetess. She begins to gather followers, convincing them that the end of the world has come and a human sacrifice is necessary to make the fog disappear. Amanda Dumfries, who is looking after Billy, discovers that her friend has taken a lethal dose of medicine. Billy makes his father promise that he will never let the monsters take him away. Seeing the increasing number of Carmody's supporters, David begins to contemplate an escape plan. To make sure they can safely get to his car and to get medicine for the burned man, he and a small group of men go to a nearby drugstore. There, they are attacked by spider-like creatures that take the lives of 2 more people. Also in the drugstore, David's group discovers a military policeman with tiny spider-like creatures crawling out of his skin. While the policeman is still alive, he reports that the fog was caused by the military from Project Arrow. After the failed raid, Carmody's group becomes even stronger, with more and more members joining. Among them is a member of the expedition to the pharmacy mechanic Jim, who became one of its most zealous followers. The survivors discover that 2 of the soldiers involved in Project Arrow have hanged themselves during a trip to the pharmacy. The remaining soldier, the one whose girlfriend died from a fly bite, reveals that scientists from the project accidentally opened a window to a parallel world, from which both the creatures and the mist emerged. Carmody's followers, who have become the majority, stab him several times, then throw him outside to buy themselves 1 day of safety from the monsters with his blood. The soldier is killed by a giant, mantis-like creature. David and his small group decide it is necessary to leave. Fearing fanatics, they schedule the departure for the morning, when everyone will be asleep. In the morning, however, the fugitives are caught at the exit by Mrs. Carmody, who convinces her supporters that Billy must be sacrificed. A scuffle ensues, during which Ollie Weeks kills Carmody with 2 shots. No one else dares to interfere with the departure of the heroes. But while they were getting to David's car, 3, Weeks, Myron, Cornell, were killed by the monsters. However, Amanda, David, Billy, Dan, and Irene managed to get away. Through the fog, David heads in the direction of his home, where he discovers that his wife has been victimized by the spider monsters. David decides to drive as long as he has enough fuel. Along the way, they observe the passage of a colossal monster with a body covered in huge dangling tentacles and 6 column-shaped legs whose footsteps shake the ground. The fuel runs out, and the group agrees in silence that there is nowhere else to go. With his last 4 rounds of ammunition, David kills those he saved, including Billy. Sobbing, David tries to shoot himself with the now empty revolver, then exits the car, calling for the monsters from the fog to take his life. The rumbling grows, and David peers into the swirling fog behind his car, expecting the monsters to pursue. But out of the fog, tanks and other military vehicles emerge, followed by a multitude of soldiers firing flamethrowers at the fog and the creatures that inhabit it. David sees several tractors loaded with evacuated civilians, among whom he notices a woman whom no one has agreed to escort home where her young children await her. A shaken David falls to his knees and screams in despair, realizing that all this time they have been moving away from a very imminent rescue, while 2 soldiers try to figure out what is wrong with him. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel because it is very important for the development of the channel. Have a nice day.